Hello and welcome to Nessie's Dead. As always, we are your hosts, Spencer and Helen.
Hello.
Hello. So I gave you some nice abstract hints as to what exactly we're talking about.
You did.
Do you have any guesses at all?
No, I never do with your hints. Absolutely not.
Okay. I'm very excited because this is a very unique episode.
I know that's what you say.
It is a compilation, which I love to do, and I haven't done one for a while.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute on those.
And before we get into it, I do want to just start with a little disclaimer. Of course, listener discretion is always advised on this show. We are a spooky podcast. We talk about true crime and paranormal cases. So listener discretion is obviously always advised. I also want to note this is not a show for children, like ever.
Yeah,
I mean,
no.
maybe, like our cryptid episodes or whatever, that's fine for kids. But overall, this is not a show for children. I really specifically am bringing that up because if you ever let your kids listen to this show, this episode would be probably the worst one to show them.
Oh.
So just don't do that. I just wanted to put that out there before we got into this episode. So
I don't think we've had such an aggressive viewer discretion advisory ever.
It's not, I mean, there's obviously like horrific stuff in it. This episode will dive into a little bit of everything we talk about. We have true crime, we have some paranormal, and we also have just kind of like general dark strangeness.
Okay.
So with that, let's go ahead and take the plunge into Morbid Romance.
Ooh, I like it.
I'm
okay.
excited.
I'm excited now.
So this maybe would have been better for like Valentine's Day, but I came up with the idea a week and a half ago and I found the things I was going to talk about for it. I was like, I'm not waiting till February. Romance is all year. It happens in every season. And
Sometimes.
With this episode, we will also see that romance is eternal.
Okay.
So I have 3 different things we're going to get into. We have a very twisted, scary couple, a very strange type of attraction, I guess I'll say, and a man with a very unsettling infatuation.
Okay.
We are going to start with that man with the infatuation. His name is Carl Tanzler. Does that name ring any bells?
No.
So Carl Tanzler was born George Carl Tanzler, but he also is referred to as Carl Tanzler von Kassel.
Von Kassel. That's a little fancy.
It is. It's very creepy how he comes up with that name, but fancy,
okay.
Yes. But he does have a bunch of different names, and his background is kind of confusing. He does have an autobiography, but a lot of the stuff he talks about people think are maybe fabricated. But he was born George Carl Tanzler, but was mostly known as simply Carl Tanzler. He was born February 8th, 1877 in Dresden, Germany. When he was younger, he would have these dreams about an ancestor of his named Anna Constantia von Brockdorff. She was also referred to as the Countess of Cosel, which is where he gets the name Carl Tanzler von Cosel from. But she was, I don't know what exactly she was to him. I just know that she was his ancestor. She lived from 1680 to 1765. So she died a little over 100 years before Carl was even born. But through some kind of lineage stuff, he learns about her. He develops this deep, crazy infatuation with this woman, this relative of his.
From 100 years ago?
Yes.
Oh.
These dreams that he would have of her, he believed were actually visions, and he believed that it was her spirit coming to him, kind of telling him, like, we're going to be together, we're going to figure it out. It was just confirmation that they really were meant to be lovers. So other than this strange infatuation he had with his ancestor, he also developed an interest in technology. I guess he worked on building some kind of aircraft, some kind of boat as well. And he was really interested in organs, like the musical instrument organ.
Oh, okay.
Now,
my mind went to body parts.
Not yet.
Oh.
But
Okay.
after well, that's in this episode. Don't worry.
Okay.
So after World War One, he meets his first wife, Doris, in Holland. They get together. They have two daughters. One of them died at a very young age, sadly. By 1926, he ends up moving to the U.S., settling in a town called Zephyrhills, Florida. I think that's how you pronounce it.
I don't know. I've never heard of it.
I've never heard of it, but I think his sister came to the US first, and then he came, and his family came, and then his parents came. They were all together in that odd named town in Florida. But only a year later, in 1927, he actually leaves everybody, leaves his wife, leaves his whole family behind, and goes to Key West by himself. Here, he begins work as a radiology tech. While he's doing this radiology tech work, he meets a woman named Elena Milagro de Hoyos. They meet in 1930. She was a really pretty Cuban woman born July 31st, 1901. Now, she unfortunately was suffering from tuberculosis. It pretty much was a death sentence for her.
Oh, I think I know this one.
It's a pretty famous case.
Yeah, I think I do. Okay,
We'll see.
continue. Yeah.
So her and her family, they were Cuban. She couldn't afford the proper treatment for tuberculosis or like any of the treatments really. While she was at the hospital doing some kind of treatment is when she meets Carl in April of 1930. He is instantly struck by her beauty, but he registers that she looks just like the ancestor of his that he was obsessed with.
Oh, so he probably thinks it's her.
Yes. Now, I don't think they looked anything alike, but to him, she was the spitting image of his ancestor, Anna Constantia Brockdorff. Naturally, Carl develops this infatuation with Elena. And now remember, he's not a doctor, he's just working as a radiology tech, but he offers to not only pay for her treatments, but to actually perform the treatments for Elena. Her family was very grateful for this. They were very excited because they knew they couldn't get her the proper treatment. Even though she agreed to this, I do want to clarify she does not date him. She continuously rejects him. She does agree to the money and to, his help and whatnot, but even though he kept getting rejected by her, he was very adamant that he had to keep her alive because he thought this was his ancestor. Like, this was to him proof that they were meant to be together because she found a way to come back to Earth. Now, some of the treatments that they were using were kind of strange. They used blessed wine to try to cure her, along
I don't mind that one.
along with electroshock therapy.
Oh, no.
Now, electroshock therapy was never considered a treatment for tuberculosis, but for some reason, Carl believed that it would reoxygenate her cells or something. He was really just trying anything he could think of. But of course, nothing worked, and Elena dies in October of 1931. Carl pays for her funeral. He pays for everything related to the funeral. And the family was very appreciative of this because remember, they don't have money.
Yeah, this guy's banking, it sounds like.
Yeah. And terribly obsessed with poor Elena.
Mm.
So she was laid to rest in the Key West Cemetery in a very nice mausoleum that Carl actually commissioned the construction of. He would her family would visit, but he would visit every single day. And people in the cemetery would report that he would speak to her and sing to her as if she was alive. He even set up a phone that was attached to where she was laid to rest that he could talk to her, or attempt to anyway.
It just went down into the ground?
I'm not sure. I think she was buried above ground in this mausoleum thing.
Oh, a mausoleum. Okay.
I don't know what the inside was like, but I think she was in the wall, perhaps, or in a giant ceramic casket in the middle, maybe.
Okay.
This, of course, is all very unsettling, but it gets way more unsettling because people in town start to report that he was buying women's clothing and women's perfumes. They were like, okay, well, maybe he's dating somebody new, but they never saw the woman he was dating. So 9 years go by. It's now October 1940. And Elena's sister, Florinda, had heard rumors around town that something strange was going on at Carl's house, so she decided to confront him about it. She goes to his house, she knocks on the door, he opens it, and he's excited to see her because he knows, oh, this is Elena's sister. He lets her into the house, and she is terrified when she enters his bedroom because she heard rumors that he was still obviously obsessed with her sister Elena, but she heard rumors that he perhaps had something connected to her in his home. There, on Carl's bed, she saw what she believed was a life-size effigy of her late sister Elena. She calls the cops because she's creeped out by it, and when the cops come to investigate, they confirm it is not a life-size effigy of Elena, but actually her very real mummified body.
Ugh. He's doing nasty things with that body, isn't he?
So her eyeballs had been removed and replaced with glass eyes. Her bones were like fixed with piano wire to keep her connected and in place and not falling apart, and so that she was able to like sit upright and whatnot. Her face was coated in wax to create like a mask kind of. And a lot of what he does with her body reminds me so much of the case I covered, Anatoly Moskvin, and he had the mummified children.
With
this guy
dolls?
does a lot of the same stuff, like creating the wax mask.
Yeah.
But Elena's decomposed skin was also replaced with silk cloth that was coated in a wax, giving a flesh-like texture and appearance.
Ew.
The chest cavity was opened and stuffed with rags to help hold up the form and prevent further decay. And since her hair had fallen out, she had a wig on her head, which was made partially of her own hair that had fallen out. She also had a tube inserted into her private region.
I knew it.
And her remains were fully dressed. She even had on gloves and jewelry and was doused in disinfectants and ladies' perfumes to help cover the odor.
Disgusting.
So Carl explained that he slept in the bed with the body every night. He would also talk to it. He would sing to it in Spanish. He would play the organ for her body, which I think is terribly unsettling. Like, of all instruments, that's what you're going to play for a corpse.
I know,
I guess that's fitting, but
it's very creepy.
He would also dance with the body around the house, and that is where a lot of the rumors stemmed from, because neighbors would see at night him dancing with somebody, like something that didn't move. And that's kind of where the idea of him having the love affair with a mannequin, the effigy, that's where that came from. But it turns out it was Elena's body the whole time.
Oh my God. What a creepo.
I know. So he also told authorities that he could hear Elena call to him from within her tomb and that she was begging to be freed. So one night in April of 1933, he carefully removed her body and brought it home, carrying it along in a toy wagon.
It's crazy. Just like the last guy. How does nobody see this happening?
I know. And the other guy, Anatoly, said that he would hear the children ask to be freed from their graves.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Carl, of course, was arrested right away under the charges of removing a body from the grave with no authorization, along with destruction of a grave. However, he was only in jail for about a week, and then the charges were dropped due to the statute of limitations expiring.
What's that mean?
I don't really understand that. Like, I don't quite get the legality around it, but I guess they didn't have enough to actually charge him officially.
Oh.
But Elena's body, sadly, was then put on display as if it hadn't already gone through enough. It was displayed at the Dean Lopez funeral home. At least 6,800 people came to look at it.
Why was it displayed?
I have no idea.
That's so eerie. Ew.
I know. But then she was finally actually put to rest in a secret and unmarked location. Allegedly, they dismembered the body and buried it in pieces. This was to help prevent Carl finding the grave and digging it back up.
Oh, so he didn't even have to do jail time? They just let him go?
Yeah, it gets weirder.
Oh.
They took pieces of her original tomb and put it on display in Key West in a museum, which is also kind of sad, I think.
Yeah.
But Carl went on to live the rest of his life, not in a normal way, but he did put out an autobiography in 1947. Then he received U.S. citizenship in 1950 and was taken back by his wife, Doris, that he left.
Oh, no, she didn't.
Yep, she took him back and took care of him, like ran everything for him.
He's been hooking up with a corpse.
Yeah.
Oh.
So he also made a life-size effigy of Elena, and it even included a death mask, which is a wax cast of a deceased person's face. He died at the age of 75 in 1952. When he was found dead, he was in the effigy's arms.
What a creep.
I know.
His wife is just okay with this?
Yeah, he takes him back. He leaves her.
Yeah.
He becomes obsessed with this woman that he thinks is an ancestor that's coming to him from beyond the grave. And then he tries to keep this woman alive. She dies. He's so obsessed with her that he then is in love with the corpse and then is arrested. And then she takes him back. And then he makes an effigy of the corpse and dies in its arms.
You know he was screwing that effigy too.
Ugh, sick, disgusting person.
I know.
But you know what? A lot of people don't consider him like a criminal, or I think they consider him weird, but they don't consider what he did necessarily wrong because they think he was just a devoted romantic person. And
no,
I fiercely disagree with them. So
me too. I think he's mentally ill.
Yeah, for sure. So there's a little bit about Carl Tanzler and some necrophilia. However, because you can't do a Morbid Romance episode without a necrophilia case.
No, surely not.
But speaking of necrophilia, that's now going to take us into the next thing I have to talk about. So with necrophilia, it is a physical or romantic attraction or encounter with a corpse, right? Well,
Unfortunately.
What about when you're not involved with the corpse anymore, but something beyond, something a little less tangible?
Like a ghost? Like you're screwing a ghost?
Exactly.
Oh my God. Where do you find this shit?
So now we're going to talk about the fascinating world of spectrophilia.
I didn't even, I've heard of it, but I didn't know it had like a full term and everything like that.
Oh, just wait.
Okay.
It's an amazing thing to research. My search
Sure.
history is always crazy because of doing this podcast.
Oh.
But specifically, like now I'm not just researching like crazy cases and weird like mysteries and whatnot. Now it's like necrophilia, spectrophilia. Did this couple blah 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 blah? And I'm like, at the end of each one, I'm like, for research.
For research, sure. For research purposes.
Yeah, my FBI agent's like,
what?
Wow.
This guy's really losing it.
Spectrophilia. So, spectrophilia or phasmophilia is the sexual and or romantic attraction to ghosts and spirits. But it also involves the romantic and sexual encounters with ghosts and spirits. Spectrophilia, though, also includes sexual arousal from images in mirrors. So reflections, like a reflection kink. That's fascinating. But we are not talking about that. We're going to talk about ghost sex.
Okay, ghost sex. Got it.
Now, when I was doing the research for spectrophilia, a lot of things other than ghosts and spirits were coming up. Spectrophilia also kind of gets lumped into the same idea with like attraction to vampires and monsters, like, Dracula and Twilight, or Beauty and the Beast, things like that, because it's paranormal. But spectrophilia officially, I don't think counts monsters. It's more like spectral, like spirits. Now, spectrophilia is considered a subtype of exophilia, which is an attraction to aliens and other supernatural entities. But spectrophilia is the more commonly referred to term. But technically, monsters and vampires would be exophilia, and then spectrophilia would exclusively be like ghosts.
Okay.
Or other
Makes
types
sense.
of spiritual form. I'll talk about this again at the end of this segment, but I actually learned about this from Kesha. Fun fact.
How? Oh, are you going to cover it later?
Yeah, I will. But
Okay.
first, we'll go into a little bit of the history. Well, first, a little bit of pop culture reference.
Okay.
So, spectrophilia, first of all, is found in ancient times. It's all over the world throughout history, but it's still a very popular thing in pop culture. And I did not realize how popular and common it actually was. But some kind of modern pop culture examples would be like Ghostbusters. Remember the scene in Ghostbusters where Dan Aykroyd's character is getting seduced in his sleep by a female ghost?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And then I guess some could also suggest that when Dina, when she gets possessed by Zool,
Mm-hmm.
and then the neighbor gets possessed by something as well, and then they get kind of hot and heavy together, some could suggest that is also considered spectrophilia. And then there's that Reese Witherspoon movie, Just Like Heaven, from like 2005. Do you know that one?
No, I haven't seen that.
It's cute.
Oh,
It's a
okay.
rom-com, and she plays a ghost. This guy, I think he's a psychic. I haven't seen him forever. He can see her, and they end up falling in love. And I'm a big fan of Charmed, and there's even an episode on Charmed where one of the witches ends up falling for a ghost.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, fun fact. And
Fun
also,
facts.
a super fun fact, in 1998, Oprah Winfrey had a woman on her show who claimed to have sex with a ghost.
Oh, I think I remember that being talked about.
So spectrophilia made its way to Oprah.
Yeah, it sure did. Who would have thunk?
But now let's get into a little more history of it. So this is a very common theme in stories throughout history for someone to be born of a human mother and an otherworldly sky father. Of course, the most common example of this that most people know about is the Virgin Mary.
And the baby Jesus.
Exactly. She gets pregnant after an angel visits her. God gives her the pregnancy. And I'm not saying it wasn't sexual, but this is considered an early story of spectrophilia. Just because
Never looked at it like that.
Me either, but this was a very common thing I kept finding in the research. But something that's interesting, there's also an apocryphal text, which is text from the Bible that was taken out. And it includes a story of human women having babies with these giant angels that come down to earth. I think they're called the Nephilim, and they have babies together. That would be considered spectrophilia. But even before that, as far back as 2400 BCE, the Epic of Gilgamesh, involving Gilgamesh himself being born of a human mother and an ethereal father. The story of Gilgamesh is a similar concept as the Immaculate Conception, considering the idea that the pregnancy comes from not so much the sexual, it's not a sexual encounter, but an ethereally created pregnancy with an ethereal entity and a human mother. This can also be found with the story of Buddha, along with the Egyptian god Ra, along with a whole bunch of other figures and people and whatnot throughout history and spirituality and religion.
It's a lot more common than I thought.
Yeah, I was kind of shocked. There are even reports of nuns confessing that they had sexual encounters with Jesus.
No, they didn't.
And found it in the research.
It's not. These nuns.
We talk about crazy nuns here on Nessie's Dead.
I know, we do. Our nuns are not your typical nun.
No.
Can you imagine what the priest probably thought when the nun was like...
When she said that?
Yeah.
I know.
How do you even ask for forgiveness for that?
Like, do you? I don't know. The priest is
know.
probably like, okay, no more wine for Sister Mary.
No, she's done.
Now, other than ethereal forms of spectrophilia, we also have some darker kind of ideas to it, involving the tales of the succubus and incubus. So the succubus and the incubus are sex demons that seduce humans in the middle of the night. The succubus is the female form. She will seduce a man and then drain him of energy and semen. And then the incubus is the male form and will seduce women with the intent of draining energy and impregnating them. Some suggest that Lilith, who is considered to be the first woman, she was also considered the first succubus in some legends.
Mm-hmm.
But on the topic of sex demons coming to you in the middle of the night, a lot of modern scientists suggest that, of course, spectrophilia is not real. There's no such thing as a succubus. But instead, it's most likely sleep paralysis.
I've never had a succubus.
Sex demon?
No, a sex demon.
Well, we have discussed sleep paralysis a handful of times here on Nessie's Dead. And it's interesting because sleep paralysis is something that it's very specific a lot of the times based on region and culture.
Mm-hmm.
Like here in the States, one of the main figures that people see, it's usually something shadowy, specifically the Hat Man.
Mm-hmm.
And then another common figure is an old woman. She's very common to see in Asian cultures. There's also like this little demon, and I think this like horse that comes to people. So maybe for some cultures, it's a sex demon.
I mean, makes sense.
But whatever the theory is around sex demons and spectrophilia, it obviously is a very common occurrence throughout history and now in pop culture. I want to now talk about some more modern stuff with it again, specifically a little bit about celebrities experiencing it, because Anna Nicole Smith actually talked about it, and she said she had amazing sex with a ghost.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then Kesha, that's where I learned about it in high school, actually, because on her album Warrior, she has a song called Supernatural, and it's about a sexual encounter she had with a ghost. Her house was haunted at the time, and she said all of a sudden this male spirit kept coming to her. They got it on one night, and then she wrote the song Supernatural. And I believe her.
You do, I was just going to say, I was like, how much of this do you actually believe?
I believe all of it. I mean, not all of spectrophilia. I believe spectrophilia is real. Because who's to say ghosts don't want that?
I don't know.
And or maybe like a sexual, kind of like a poltergeist, like a sexual poltergeist maybe. And maybe instead of trapped negative energy forming this kind of dark spirit, maybe sometimes it's a trapped sexual energy creating a sexual spirit. That sounds kind of scary too, but
yeah. Me for Halloween. Sexy poltergeist here at home.
That would be cool. Oh, remember at the convention we saw someone dressed as a sexy exorcist thing.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And her outfit said sexorcist.
Yeah.
That was
classy.
Funny. But I also, at the time that this happened, Kesha had a reality show. It was the early 2010s. Everyone had a reality TV show.
Mm-hmm.
And in one of the episodes, she kept talking about how her house was haunted. There is a clip where something like flies off the walls and she's like, oh my God. And she has a medium come out and she's like, so turns out that I really did have sex with a ghost. And now my vagina's possessed.
Shut up.
Next time I'm there, we're going to watch her show. We're going to watch that episode.
Okay.
I believe Kesha 1000%. And Anna Nicole
Really?
Smith. Now, the next one I don't know if I believe as much, but there's a woman named Amethyst Realm. Amethyst Realm is a medium from the UK. She was in a serious relationship with a ghost named Ray. It sounded like a nursery rhyme.
It did. I paused for a second. I was like...
So she met Ray in 2018 in the woods of Australia while on a trip there. Or I guess in Australia they call the woods the bush. No pun intended for this episode. But she explained that she comes across this presence out there in the bush. It was a male kind of energy, and she was instantly drawn to it, and it had they have this experience together and they form this connection right away. She's all busy with this spirit on her trip to Australia, and then when she gets on her flight to go home to the UK, she was really sad that she was leaving this spirit behind. Then she felt his presence again on the plane. They decided to go into the bathroom together and join the Mile High Club. So not only is she having ghost sex, she's doing it in an airplane bathroom from Australia to England.
That is wild. That bathroom
Yeah.
was just a bump and they were waiting for two people to come out and they're like, what the hell?
She Casper floats out. She actually talked about this on a TV show, like a talk show. She said that the spirit was like at least 1,000 years old. He was like a very ancient spirit and had been around.
Is he flying spirit?
Yeah, I wonder if that was Spirit Airlines. For her, it was.
Yeah.
But she also explains that this wasn't her first experience with mystical partners. She's had at least 20 spectral lovers throughout her life.
No, ma'am.
20.
No, ma'am.
But the ghost Ray was like a bigger deal for her. They had planned on actually getting married. They were going to do a hand fasting, which is a pagan spiritual kind of marriage. She also said on this talk show, I watched this interview. She said that she was going to have a phantom baby with him. They were like, no, okay, does that mean you get pregnant with an actual child or with a spirit? She's like, I don't know yet. I guess we'll see.
Oh, no.
And
did she?
No, because she tells ITV this morning, with a British talk show, she tells them that they take a trip, her and this ghost, they take a trip to Thailand together.
Does she have to buy 2 tickets for this?
I don't know. I don't know the logistics of ghost dating. But she said that on their trip to Thailand, he changed drastically and he seemingly, quote, fell in with the wrong crowd, referring to other spirits. He would disappear for long periods of time on this trip, and when he would come back, he would have other spirits with him that he'd bring to their hotel room.
Oh, he was out there cheating in the spirit world.
Yeah. And she said that her ghost fiance got into drugs, and
no, I can't.
And she called the wedding off.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. There was another account of a woman who married a ghost, but I forgot that story. But in the research, I also found some stuff, like some mystical people who would host these like workshops and gatherings where like sexual encounters with spirits kept occurring. Just for some reason, they're like, I don't know why, it just keeps happening to my customers. Then this one article I read talked about these books that involved ghost sex ritual magic. Yeah, but that's all I have on spectrophilia.
It's a very interesting topic.
Yeah. When I came up with this idea for this episode, I was like, okay, I'll talk about that. I'll talk about this. And I was like, what else? What else? I'm like, oh, ghost sex.
Ghost sex. You can't have an episode like this without ghost sex.
Yeah. Now, this next story I have is not as fun as spectrophilia. It's a little more brutal.
And is this one going to be the murder one?
This is the true crime case. I guess the first one with the necrophilia is also true crime, but he didn't murder. This next one is a little more drastic. Well, yeah, it is much more drastic. Mm-hmm. Now we're going to talk about the case of Dmitry and Natalia Bakshiv. This is a Russian.
This sounds familiar.
It takes place in Russia.
I don't know. It sounds familiar. Keep going. How is it like every time you do a case? I've never known it. And now that we're doing like the weird sex cases, I'm like, oh, I know this one.
Did you know the Carl Tanzler?
Yeah, I knew that one.
I think when I started covering Anatoly Moskvin, I think you thought I was covering Carl Tanzler. I think you brought it up.
Yeah, exactly. Uh-huh.
I came across him when I was researching Anatoly. Mm-hmm. And I was like, you're going in my back pocket. But Dmitry and Natalia Bakshiv, there's some confusion for me with the last name. I see reports that the wife, Natalia, her maiden name was, I think, Bakshiva. And then Dmitry's last name is Bakshiv or Bakshivi. I don't think that they both had almost identical last names. It might be like an issue with reporting.
Translation
I'm not totally
or something?
Sure. I don't know, but I've also seen Dimitri's last name written Bakshiv and Bakshivi. I don't know Russian. I don't know if the Y is sometimes silent or pronounced differently. So for anyone out there who knows a little more than I do, I'm talking about it with the best understanding of their last names that I have.
Gotcha.
But like I said, this is from Russia. It's from a town called Krasnodar. We have Natalia. I'm just going to say I don't know her maiden name officially, but she was born January 25th, 1975. She grew up with her mother and her grandmother, but unfortunately, when Natalia was a teenager, her mother died. Then, as an adult, she goes into nursing school. She works as a nurse for a sanitation department and then goes on to do, I think, nursing at a military aviation school. This is where she meets her first husband. They get married. She has a baby. Right after she has the baby, her husband dies.
Oh.
This, of course, leads to her falling into a pretty bad depression.
Well, yeah.
This then takes her into a drinking and drug problem.
Oh.
And that gets kind of out of hand. She realizes she has this problem. So she willingly checks herself into a psychiatric hospital. However, she claims that she has a manic disorder, not a drinking problem, from my understanding. The doctors there test her, and they're like, no, you don't have a manic disorder. They are like, we can't keep you here. You're fine. Now, I don't know if she just didn't say anything about the drugs and alcohol. I don't know if Russia operates differently and they don't take you in at a place like that for drugs and alcohol. I'm not totally sure, but either way, they did not keep her and they said, you're not manic, goodbye. So she's back in the outside world. She continues drinking heavily. She ends up losing her job, but one night, out at a bar, she meets a man named Dmitry Bakshiv or Bakshivi. He was born January 28th, 1982. He had a little bit of quite a rough upbringing. He actually started his life in an orphanage. He was adopted by the age of 3, and everything was seemingly pretty normal until also when he's a teenager, at the age of 15, his mother dies, his adoptive mother. When she dies, his father becomes this total abusive dick, beats him up, and kicks him out of the house. I don't know what that was about, but that's how it went. This led to Dmitry couch surfing and then eventually to homelessness, which then leads to store robbery and the theft of a car. He gets caught. He goes to prison for this for a very short period of time. He gets out. He gets a job in construction and I think also as a repairman. So he's kind of like getting his life on track finally.
Mm-hmm. They've both got some issues going on.
Yeah, and it's interesting they both lost their mother as teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
They potentially both had almost the same last name, and they're both January babies.
Oh, Aquariuses or Capricorns.
I think Capricorns.
Oh.
Yeah, they're 3 days apart. Now, Dmitry was not a drinker. He wasn't like 100% sober, but he did not care to drink really. He very rarely ever drank. However, he preferred to be in the company with drinkers. So he would actually hang out at bars, not to drink, just to hang out with people drinking, which is very odd.
That is odd because typically people that don't drink don't like to be around a bunch of people that do drink. Like it's annoying to them.
It's a very strange socialization.
Yeah, it is.
But that's where he meets Natalia, who was drinking. They hit it off immediately. They begin dating, and he really quickly moves in.
I bet he does. Isn't he couch surfing, or does he have a place by now?
I think he had a place at this time. I'm not totally sure. But they get married pretty quickly. They end up getting a new place together. Now, Natalia, remember, she did already have a child. She had a son. I don't know anything about him. All I know is that around this time, after they got married, the son dipped. I don't know how old he was. I think he went to live with a relative.
Yeah, he was like, no.
I guess someone said that he was very embarrassed about stuff with his family situation. I also found reports that Natalia and Dmitry were very, I think, socially awkward. That's kind of how I interpreted it.
Okay.
Now, following the marriage, things seemed relatively normal from the outside. That is, until Dmitry loses his phone. It ends up being discovered near a construction site on September 11th, 2017. The nearby construction workers see the phone. They pick it up, they decide to go through the photos, and in it, they come across a horrific photo of a man with a dismembered hand in his mouth, and he's holding a severed head.
I think I
Now,
know this one.
the man obviously was Dimitri. So
Mm-hmm.
the construction workers are like, oh my God, this is terrifying. They call the police. They hand the phone over. Police continue looking through the phone, looking through photos, and they come across photos of body parts, more dismembered body parts, full dead bodies, photos of what appear to be wigs.
Ew.
They eventually trace the phone back to Dimitri, of course, bring him and his wife Natalia in for questioning.
Aren't they
Now,
like a serial killer couple?
yes.
Okay.
Well, allegedly, yes.
Allegedly.
So at first, Natalia was kind of nonchalant about everything, and she was like, oh, wow, that's scary. And the police were like, you don't seem too terrified or shocked.
Concerned.
Yeah, they were
Like,
like, this is suspicious.
yeah.
And I think they just kind of had the heat on her, and she started to be like, oh, I'm not going to get away with too much. So then she changes her story from I didn't know and oh, wow, to her story was that she went for a walk with Dimitri's phone. That's odd on its own.
Mm-hmm.
She saw a dead body on the side of the road. So she took a picture of it, continued about her business on the walk, and then dropped the phone.
What about all the other bodies and things we have on here?
Exactly. Like, why?
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't account for any other photos. And also, it's kind of weird to see a dead body and not call authorities.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
So, police were able to figure out that the body in the pictures was that of a woman named Elena Vakrushiva. I think was 35 or 34, and she was a waitress.
Another Elena?
Yeah.
Oh.
So she was a waitress or a bartender at this bar, and it turns out that Elena and Natalia got in a fight on the night of September 8th, which then leads to Natalia instructing Dimitri to kill her. Natalia also took part in the murder itself, not just the instruction to make it happen, but she also was part of killing. But there's another report that suggests that Dimitri and Natalia met Elena through a dating app. Dimitri and Elena were getting along a little too well, causing Natalia to get jealous, leading to the fight, then leading to the murder. But either way, it was based in the three of them interacted together somewhere, somehow. Natalia got jealous, and the murder occurred.
Yeah.
Elena's cause of death was multiple stab wounds. They took this poor woman's body, dismembered it, took photos, and then took some of the body parts home, and then scattered the rest around the area.
Oh, God.
During the investigation, police, of course, go to the house and are mortified to come across all the terrible things they come across. And I want to note, they were living at like a military base housing thing. So remember, Natalia already had connections with this. She was a nurse at the military aviation school, and that's how she met her first husband. And I believe Dimitri was a cook at this military base or whatever. So they're living in this military housing. Just putting that out there quickly. When the police get to the house, they first note that it is filthy, full of just trash and junk. Like I saw a video of it. It was piles of junk just stacked high and things all over the floor. It's spilling out of doors and drawers and closets. And
that's kind of how I would envision somebody like this living.
Oh yeah, I was like, this is a serial killer couple house for sure.
Yeah,
it was gross.
Ew.
But not as gross as what the police come across in the kitchen. They find what the investigative committee called, quote, food fragments and frozen meat pieces of unknown origin. So in the fridge were slices of human meat and fat in sealed jars in some kind of saline solution, I guess to preserve it.
Yum.
There was even a whole hand in a jar.
Oh my God.
I believe that hand belonged to their victim, Elena. Some of Elena's body parts were pickled in the fridge. There were a total of at least 19 pieces of human remains in the refrigerator, and I think 10 in the freezer. They also, this part's really weird, but there was loose chicken, like just raw chicken, sitting in the fridge with no plate or package, just sitting there.
Ew.
I like how that's the one you said ew to.
All of it's gross, but it's like, ew.
Also,
Like that I can't, the raw chicken. That's where I draw the line.
well, the other stuff seems so like horror movie. It doesn't seem real. Like it's real, but it doesn't feel as real. But like to us, we have raw chicken in the fridge.
Yeah.
So it's more, there's like relatability with the chicken.
Okay, thanks. Thanks for covering for me there.
Yeah. But they also find what they believe is a long wig, I think sitting on the counter. They pick it up and they realize that it is a full scalp with the hair still intact that had been sliced off someone's head.
And I bet they were wearing it, weren't they?
I think so, because apparently, according to reports, Natalia said they actually had a storage facility or something where they kept more remains, and it was full of scalps with the hair still on it.
Oh, it's like their trophy?
I think
Or are they doing weird shit with these wigs?
I don't know, because I don't know if they're... Well, they did collect their victims' belongings. I guess they also had a drawer of other people's phones. But maybe the scalp was the piece that was like the, quote, serial killer trophy, and then they ate the other parts.
The people.
But they also find photos featuring the couple with body parts, including one with a severed human head being served and set up like you would a normal piece of meat. The eyes were replaced allegedly with olives, and the dish was surrounded by oranges. And the photo was dated to December 29th, 1999. People believe that this was actually their Christmas dinner.
Oh my God, no. How did these two weirdos find each other?
At a bar.
Oh my God.
And I guess there were other photos of severed heads with no scalps.
They do have a scalp thing, and that's for sure.
That was seemingly a trait. Is that, a trait that they had? Mm-hmm. There's also some reporting of a supposed handwritten cookbook that Natalia wrote herself with details about preparing human remains. Allegedly, there was a videotape or something they found of, I think, a third person, somebody else talking
participating?
Well, they were like an instructional video of someone talking about how to like butcher a human body so that you can cook it. There were also rumors of Natalia canning human meat and bringing it to work for lunch.
No.
Yeah.
That's why you can never eat at potlucks.
Especially if they bring out some canned meat.
For real. Ooh, the charcuterie board at that workplace.
And I guess neighbors also reported this chemical smell coming from their house. That reminds me a little bit of the case with the Brian Egg.
Yeah.
Where the killers were bleaching his house and everyone could smell it. And he was decapitated.
Did the neighbors say it was like bleach or just chemical?
Yeah. I don't know.
Because they don't sound like they're cleaning up very well.
No, not at all. I mean, they must be doing something to cover up something.
Yeah.
I don't know. But
very sloppy killers.
Yeah. Maybe they wanted to get caught. Like maybe because they're obviously terrible freaks. Maybe they got off on it.
Maybe. Yeah, they definitely did.
But Dimitri actually confessed to having killed up to 30 people. And the couple, they said they would drug people that they met on dating sites, then kill and eat them. Natalia was sentenced to only 10 years in a penal colony and 1 year in prison. And for anyone who doesn't know, because I had no idea, a penal colony is a settlement set up to exile prisoners, putting them to work in remote areas like an island, specifically a remote area with harsh weather. So that's all she got. 10 years of that. And
that doesn't
1
seem
year
like
in prison.
Much.
No, for cannibalism.
No.
And then Dimitri was sentenced to 12 years in prison. And
that still doesn't seem like a lot.
No. Now, for Dimitri, it ended up being life. His sentence wasn't life, but he did die in prison. And he, I think for the most part, was in solitary confinement, I think.
How'd he die? Did somebody finally get their hands on him?
Tuberculosis.
Oh, another tuberculosis case. Yeah. With another Elena in the story. How odd.
I know, that's very odd. Now, many believe, remember at the beginning of this case, I talked about how Natalia she checked herself into the psychiatric hospital for manic disorder, and they were like, you don't have a manic disorder. Some people believe that she went into the psychiatric hospital, just so that it was documented that she was checked into one. In case she ever got caught, she would just say that she was insane and unfit to stand trial and get her sentence lessened.
But didn't that happen before she met him?
It was, but she could have been, I mean, she was probably pretty nuts to begin with if she's
she could have been
with him.
Yeah, she could have been doing this way before, and that maybe was their common
maybe inspired
ground.
him. Because a lot of them said, because she's older by 7 years, and a lot of people suggested that she kind of ran the show.
Yeah, maybe they had the same kind of side project, and they were like, you too?
Yeah. Now, a lot of information with this case is suggested to be nothing but rumor, and that they only killed one person. Like, if you go to the Wikipedia page, it says they killed one person, and that was poor Elena. It also says that the press circulated the idea of the cannibal story because of the dismembered body part photo. However, Dimitri did confess to killing 30. Natalia talked about killing more. And the photos, when they presented them to Natalia, she was able to say who was who. And it turned out, allegedly, that a lot of their victims had actually been missing persons.
Oh.
And then they're like, oh, I guess we know where they went now.
Oh, that sucks. Yeah, I think they definitely killed more than one person.
I think so as well. Also, that one photo of the severed head, which some people argue, well, not even real at all. But I'm like, why would the cops make up all of this evidence?
It seems excessive.
But it was dated to 1999. So it has to go back pretty far before Dimitri even met her, if this is real. But also, it's hard to research this case. There's not a lot of stuff about it. I find it interesting because perhaps, this was another suggestion, Russian authorities are trying to keep this case kind of covered up and as quiet as possible, and that's why they're only documenting one murder, especially because this happened on the military base housing site. And
I was literally thinking that they probably just brushed this under the rug like, oh, shit.
Like, these soldiers couldn't catch on to anything like that. That's alarming. But also, they believe that if this is all really happening, it seems really far-fetched that only 2 people were killing and dismembering this many victims and getting away with it for so long, back to 1999. It's kind of hard to believe, and it seems like it was connected to something else, like supposedly that guy in that footage, that instructional video, and it's like, how do you obtain that?
Oh, yeah.
So there's a theory that it actually connects to this like cannibal family or cult. The Russian government wouldn't want this information getting out, especially if it's something like, oh, you should be more on top of this. Why is this not, like, why can you not track these cannibals down? And if they can't find them, they'd rather people not know about it.
It's like the Russian Texas Chainsaw Massacre family.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just giving those vibes. Ew.
I personally believe that it was more than just their one victim.
Oh, yeah, I do too.
Also, you don't kill once and cut the body up and eat it. As your like people like Jeffrey Dahmer, I don't think he ate his first victim.
I don't remember. I think
I'm actually
slowly crept and became more and more and more, and then it got to that point.
Yeah, because I think he hid a body in his house, the first one. I don't think he did anything.
And I think it was his grandma's basement that he was living in at the time.
I'm actually very unfamiliar with the Dahmer case. I'm not interested in it at all.
Oh, I don't love it. I want to say that. It's fascinating. It's very fascinating, that case.
See, I'm not usually like single serial killer stories. I usually don't find as much. Like, I get more bothered listening to that than other things. Like, as if you notice, I get very like infatuated studying like a missing person case or like the Black Dahlia case. I've studied so much on.
Yeah, we heard it 3 times.
Yeah. That is how I'm going to wrap up, I guess, my morbid romance episode.
Very morbid with a sprinkle of romance in there.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff, though. it is different than what we typically cover. So I understand your viewer discretion is advised for listening ears.
Yep. Always on this show, but this episode.
Yeah, definitely this one.
Special episode.
Mm-hmm.
So next week, are you continuing the spectral sex talk?
No, I don't think I'll have any of that. But
Damn.
I will be bringing us back to some national forest.
Oh my
god. We may be introducing maybe a cryptid.
So that could be an episode for children to listen to.
No, it's gonna have some graphic murder in it.
Oh,
it's fun.
Cryptid murder?
We'll see, and it's gonna be a little compilation too.
Oh, is it Cryptids Part 3?
No.
It's
a very specific cryptid.
Ooh,
You'll just have to see.
Okay.
I think it's going to be a good one. I think you're really going to like it. Well,
with that, I guess we'll say goodnight.
And pleasant nightmares. Bye.